Hello, just a very brief video from me today, I think. I was tagged by the wonderful Charlie and a Hay in the Bookish Beginnings tag, so I'm going to do that one. I look like this because I have just got back from work, so I'm really stinky and gross, but you can't smell me unless you can smell me, in which case you're in my house somewhere. Why are you in my house somewhere? Or I'm in your house. Is this my house? I'm concerned now. Also, my tea is in the oven, so if the place catches fire around me, that'll be why, and I'll try to keep things professional and stay on camera like a real reporter. Question 1 in the Bookish Beginnings tag is tell us what you loved reading as a child. Anything. Literally anything. I would read the back of cereal boxes, I would read the back of like ketchup bottles, and then I would tell my parents what the ingredients were and they would go, "Shut up, Darren, we don't care." I obviously, there are obvious ones like Roald Dahl, there's Harry Potter, which I've gone about at length. Philip Pullman was a really big one for me, but then there was also kind of the horror-y side of things. So there was a very little book that I absolutely adored called Scare Yourself to Sleep, which was a collection of short stories being told by a group of children who were camping. And that book had a massive impact on me. I absolutely loved the illustrations in it. It was really creepy. There was one story about people getting eaten by a giant moth, which has fueled my absolute lifelong phobia of all moths and butterflies. I also have it might be in my parents' house now, a pop-up book called The Haunted House, which was a brilliant pop-up and lift the flap book that was really creepy, and I absolutely adored it. So anything like that. The Goosebumps books were obviously a big hit with me because I was just kind of obsessed with anything spooky and a bit dark and a bit creepy, which has followed me into my adult life. Question 2 is what was the first adult fiction you ever tried to read or wanted to read? It was almost certainly Terry Pratchett. Almost certainly. It'll have been Guards more than likely, either through my school library or stolen off my brother. Carrie by Stephen King was probably quite an early kind of go into adult fiction as well, and also the books by R.A. Salvatore, who wrote Dungeons and Dragons fiction, which is like the nerdiest thing you could ever try and read, but I absolutely loved them. The Forgotten Realms series they were called, and they were brilliant. Question 3 is, what was the first classic book that you read that wasn't for school? This was probably H.G. Wells's War of the Worlds, which I read because I really liked the Jeff Wayne musical that I listened to a lot growing up, and it used to really creep me out, and so I really wanted to read the book. It could have been Dracula by Bram Stoker as well, just because that's the sort of thing that I would have picked up. I seem to remember reading it at quite a young age and not really understanding it very well, to be honest. I've never been big into the classics. I've never really gotten on board with a lot of them, just because I don't think I'm clever enough, quite frankly. They're really smart and I'm really dumb. Question 4 is, tell us about a book that introduced you to a new genre or new writing style. So the book I'm going to go with is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, which is actually by Leslie Walton, which is a gorgeous book that introduced me to the idea of magical realism, this genre which is distinct from fantasy in that it is about a world exactly like ours where something magical happens, as opposed to a magical universe that is grounded in magic. So magical realism kind of blends the lines between reality and not reality. Unreality, we'll go with that, that's a good word. It's about a girl who has wings, and she is born with wings, and it is beautifully written. It's about the people who think that she might be an angel, and it's about her generations of family and all the strange and unusual things that have happened to them. And you can read those strange and unusual things as some kind of fable and as some kind of bedtime story passed down through generations, or you can view it as real, and you can view it as a little bit of magic seeping through into the world around these characters. It's a gorgeous book. I would strongly recommend everyone give it a try. Question 5. A whole hand. What was the first literary prize winner that you read? Which kind of depends on how pedantic I'm going to be. So probably the very first literary prize winner that I read was Dogger by Shirley Hughes, which won the Kate Greenaway Medal for illustration. Other than that, probably Philip Pullman's Northern Lights, which won the Carnegie Medal and the Whitbread Prize for Children's Fiction, although that might have been the Amber Spyglass. Thinking about it. Yeah, what's the Amber Spyglass? Either way, one of those two, so still children's literature. As for grown-ups literature, first prize winner I read was... I don't know, I'm not sure. I read The Lonely recently, which won the Costa debut book of the year, which was really good, by Michael Andrew Hurley. So that was pretty good. That wasn't the first one that I've read, but that's the first one that comes into my head, so shut up. Question number 6. What was the first translated fiction that you read? Almost certainly it was Ring by Koji Suzuki. Having been too scared to watch the film, I thought I would read the book instead. I really liked the aesthetic of the film, but I was too scared to actually sit and watch it, and I was like, well, the book's never going to scare me, so I'll read the book instead. It scared me a lot. The film's much less scary than this book. It's really, really good. The sequels get distinctly more weird and distinctly more strange as they go along. Not as good, but Ring on its own is a brilliant standalone piece of fiction. Absolutely love it. Oh, actually, thinking about it, Battle Royale by Koshin Takami. Takami? Yeah, Koshin Takami was probably quite early on as well. I read a lot of Japanese fiction when I was about 15 or 16. So it could have been that or Ring. I forget which way around I read them. And finally, question number 7. Which is, why did you start Booktube? Is that what it is? Tell us why you started Booktube and what it was like to film and upload your first video. Agony. I had to film myself, I had to talk to myself, which was easy, I do that all the time. But actually editing it was awful. Looking at my own face was awful. Hearing my own voice, God, it doesn't sound like you think it's going to sound. It's really painful. The reason I started up, I covered in my my new Booktuber tag thing. Shut up. And basically, the people in my book club have been like, "You'd be really good at this," and I was like, "I do talk about books for a living and also not for a living, and it's all I talk about." So I thought I'd give it a go, but also I know that I am kind of needy. I quite like praise, so when people favourite my tweets or like things on Facebook, it just makes me happy and grabby and be like, yes, more of this. So YouTube was another outlet for me to have validation, little views on my video that make me happy, even though they're just numbers, and numbers aren't friends. They're not friends, even though they feel like friends. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. If you did, I'm going to go tag some people on Twitter to go and do this thing. That'll be pretty cool. They'll probably do it a lot better than I do. Doesn't look like my house has burnt down, so that's always a plus. And hopefully my tea isn't burnt. I'm still going to eat it if it is. I can't afford to be chucking good food away, let's be honest. I'll be fine. Probably won't kill me. If it does kill me, Maybe this video will get loads of views. Who knows? I don't know. Thanks. Bye.